Hello, okay. I finally managed to get things somewhat working on my end. I'm gonna give everyone like 5, maybe 10 minutes to like settle in, and I'm just gonna get a glass of water. But it's nice to see you. Hello. Or I might just start, I'm not sure. But yeah, we're playing one of my favourite games. Are you going home on Friday? Oh, that's good. No, this is unfortunately not a Game Boy game. I do like the aesthetic though. This is a PC title. I did not manage to find a way to hook a Game Boy up to my thing. Clown show. Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, you know, if you want to talk about it at a different point, that's cool, but you know, sorry to hear that. You know, I hope that's not going like too badly. Because as the audio may cut out for just a second, I'm going to quickly like try and balance the audio out because I think the game's a little quiet compared to me at the moment. Might be a little loud, I hope not too much. Should work slightly better. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's like... I've got it down slightly. It'll take a few seconds to kick in. Also, we are dealing with some fun latency of about like 5 to 10 seconds. It's very cool, so I hope that is not too annoying, but you know. Hopefully everything sounds decent. But you know, I'm glad to hear the family thing is a good thing. Be a bit of a problem otherwise, but you know. Do you actually like know what's happening? or you're just like randomly being summoned from wherever you are to go home. Alright, probably gonna start in a few minutes, just go get a glass of water. Alright. If people are going to show up, they will. Best of luck to them. I'm probably going to start now. So this is a small game created by Lucas Pope. He was the man responsible for Papers, Please, I believe, which is a slightly more well-known title on his end. But he made this game, which is a puzzle game made in, I believe, 2019, which I think sort of went mildly under the radar, which I quite enjoy. So I thought I'd play it on stream, which is mostly just because I've been obsessing over this game recently and was going to play it anyway. It's got some very nice graphics for obviously a Game Boy game. Very distinctive art style, so I'm just going to take a... There, I've got a playtime of 7 hours and 28 minutes here. I've solved all the fates, but I'm probably going to make a fresh save file and go from the beginning. I might wait like a minute because someone might... Yes, I think we have more audience. Alright. I'm going to start now, I think. So we have our book, Lost at Sea, 1803, the good ship Obra Dinn. Book by 1796, with a crew of 51 men, captained by Captain R. Whitterall. So basically, it went missing, and then returned far later. The Obra Dinn is returned, dispatched to Falmouth immediately, and it's our job to undergo an assessment of the ship for tax purposes, which I think is a rather interesting take for a main character. We are not someone special, we are literally just a tax man who has been asked to evaluate this ship so we can charge people for, like, tax purposes for the East India Trading Company.
Company man woke me up. Said you'd need ferry to the Obra Dinn. Not many eager for that job. Seems a bit late if you ask.
I didn't.
What's in the box?
I don't know. Hoist it up in a few minutes.
Hey. Ow.
Hello and goodbye, TC.
Carefully.
Small appearance. Yeah, our character is canonically the worst person ever because he is a tax man. Or actually, I say tax man. One very strange and interesting feature of the game: the voice lines for our main character, which only appear through a few instances in the game, the intro being one of them, uses a randomized voice line from a male or female character, which means sometimes you end up with a sort of air quote male female character main character or a female main character. I don't know why exactly it did it that way, but I quite like it. Sort of a display of our character not inherently being particularly important who we are, just more that we serve a purpose as a taxman. So this is the ship, the Obra Dinn. So I hope no one has too many issues with the, I'd say, somewhat striking appearance of the game. Very two colour palettes. Everything is made using either these shades of Game Boy Color green or black. Hello, Mr. Rock. It's nice to have you. So I can actually, I go through this, I can change the appearance if anyone's having a little bit of difficulty with the colours, or whether we can like to keep it that way. So we have basically greens, shades of browns and orange, blues, blacks, very, very darks, and Macintosh, which yeah, if anyone has a preference, I can change it to a preferred colour of choice, just so things are a little bit easier on the viewing. Just because obviously I am aware that, like, I've played this game for 8 hours, and if you stare at it for too long, it can start to, like, hurt the eyes a little bit. So my general go-to would be IBM. It's just slightly easier to keep an eye on. But if anyone wants to request a particular palette, do feel free to let me know. Green. One sec. Alright, where's green? Yeah, alright. Okay, what I might be able to do... yeah. We've got... Alright, everything's up to scratch. So I do like the way the game looks. Also, this one... oh, thing. I like this feature of the game. I will not explain what that is. I will let you guys be just as mildly confused as to what the giant glowy thing off the side of the boat is. So it's our job to explore the boat we're on and sort of evaluate what happened, because we are a boring tax collector. So it's a murder mystery game where, you know, a mild surprise to anyone who hasn't seen the game, where obviously a bunch of people have died on the boat, and we need to figure out where, why, what, etc. But they do a very interesting mechanical take on... I'm not a big fan of murder mysteries myself. I think they can get... I don't know if anyone else has played any. I think they can get a bit repeating. If you have multiple deaths, like especially in this game there are 60 dead people, it can get quite repetitive. And in games about singular people's deaths, it can drag out quite a bit if you don't like in-depth solving mechanics. But this one manages a really good take on it with these two mechanics, one of them being the book. There's a big preface text, but I don't know if anyone's been reading this while I'm talking, but short and sweet. A guy, Henry Evans, has handed us this book about the Obra Dinn. With his health failing, he needs us to go and do it. So we're here to complete this book, use the pocket watch he's given us, and go through the contents of this book and mark out how everyone's died. So, contents page, the path the ship took, the actual picture of the ship's structure itself, the crew, a sketch, which is one of my favourite features in there, and then all the pages about the individuals. No, you're right, I did not kill them. This, bloody knife I'm holding in my hand has nothing to do with this. It is completely irrelevant to their deaths. I was not involved in any way. If anyone who thinks I was responsible for the deaths, you're insane. You should seek mental help. You are absolutely nuts. You are delusional. Yeah, so we have a list of a very, 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 very long list of people, and we need to identify each of them, how they died, in who killed them or what killed them, depending on the way they died, and what their name was. One of my favourite features is the man who gave us the book, the man called Henry Evans, is actually a member of the ship, which does come in some relevance later. I'm not allowed to close the book, apparently. I'm being banned. I have to read the book. So, each page is about someone dying and how they died. There's a whole big section, blah blah blah, a lot of people. So many pages, so many dead people, it's kind of not actually funny. And then all the way at the end we have the glossary, genuinely incredible feature by the dev, because I don't know what the hell a bosun is. So it's really thankful that they put this in, because I have no idea what a lot of those words mean aside from captain and carpenter. This is our tracker to see how many mysteries we've solved, and we can close the book. And this, if it'll let me pick it up, is Memento Mortem, the pocket watch. Remember death. This is the main mechanic of solving mysteries in the game, and the only reason I think this game is actually any fun at all. Because I can go and take this pocket watch, go find this dead guy, and perform a little, birthday party magic trick. I am that $5 rental magician you've hired, and I'm about to perform a magical trick.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Ah! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells! You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Ah, okay. Well, it was nice having you here for a little bit, but I will see you later. And here we have the sole reason I think this is one of the more interesting games I've played. With this pocket watch, you're allowed to go and visit the last moments of someone's life right before they get killed. I'll give someone in chat 10 points if they can figure out how this guy was killed. It is a tough mystery. You're gonna have to spend like a couple hours figuring out how this guy died. I mean, it's pretty similar to the average day in the life of a Scottish citizen, Got a lot of, family on one of the sides of my family is full of a lot of Scottish people. And yeah, definitely pretty normal experience from Scotland. You wake up on a boat and, you get shot in the chest. My great-granddad on my dad's side got shot 37 times in the chest by the time he was like 9. It's a good time. So the book unfolds, takes us to this page. This is chapter 10 of the book, The End. Interesting choice to start at the end of their story, but I quite like it. And the game presents us with a dead body is found outside the captain's quarters. Who is this individual? How did they die? And what was responsible for their death? So, at the moment, the game introduces this mechanic later. This person has been blurred out in the picture, so we don't know who they are. We are not able to figure out this person's name just yet, but we can figure out some other features. Credit to Growls in the chat. It was an interesting guess, very well done, and you are correct actually. Well done. Shot by a cannon, clearly, by an unknown attacker. I have played the game once through already, but I don't remember a lot of it. The old short-term memories kicked in, and as powerful as I am, I have forgotten. I think I only remember 3 names in the entire game, and who they are. So, but I can take a good guess. If anyone in chat would like to take a guess as to how this person died, now is the time before I put in what I would consider my answer. I'm going to assume, at least, I think that was the captain. The game gives you, as a feature, a dialogue box. So this is everything that was said before, with the X's being related to the person who was killed. So that means this line and this line here are lines spoken by that person before he was shot in the chest, rather lovingly. I do like the picture here. It's the most photogenic picture ever taken of me, pretty much. But I'm going to guess, he asks the captain to open the door, someone tells it to kick it in, and then he gets shot in the chest. My money's on captain. But I don't know who this is, so I'm going to close my book. And the game is going to allow me to either choose to wander around the scene for as long as I want, or leave through this door. I will admit at this moment in time there isn't particularly too much reason to be walking around. There's this guy. He's here. So there's only 4 people present in the scene, and I don't know anyone's names. So I'm just going to leave for now. I don't think I can get any more out of this information. Because honestly, that might not be the captain. That might be someone who's in the captain's crew. But I'm going to assume that is. And this guy's dead. And now the game has unlocked more of the door, so I'm allowed to go and take a walk around. See throughout more of the cabin, because this door was shut the last time I tried to walk through it. So we've now got 2 more dead bodies. If anyone would like to elect which body to go with, I'd be happy to take votes, because I don't think it's going to let me through any of the other doors I want to go through at the moment. Yeah, this door is locked on both sides. And I think that's the only one available. So it's just, yeah, we got this new pair of bodies I get to look through. So, I'm gonna go with... I like the cut of this guy's jib. I'm gonna go with this one for now.
Where are they? Must be in here someplace. They're at the bottom of the sea. That's a lie.
I do like the game. Just gives you a nice, intimate, close-up section of the game. Good scene unfolds here. So, came in with a gun, I imagine at least. Attempted to... I don't think he succeeded to stab this guy in the chest, but unfortunately he's delivered he's got Londoner treatment, basically. Average day in Birmingham, he's been slashed through the throat. I've never noticed this, actually. It's the same guy from before, from the stairs. Hop down. I think I can take a reasonable guess as to why he's dead. My money's on knife. Ah, and he looks sleepy. He looks like he's having a nice time. Inside the captain's quarters, a new body is revealed to us. This guy is dead. I also have no idea who this is. But I can take a good guess. I'm gonna go with... decapitated, electrocuted, knifed. I'd say knifed. I feel like knife feels like a safe bet. And by the looks of it, it was the same guy from the previous scene, so I will guess Captain again as best guess. Blurred picture, so there are no clues I can currently use to find this person's identity, so I'm going to pass. And I'm not going to sit here and try and fumble for a while. This guy's interesting. Okay, so that's E to zoom. That's how I've been doing it. If you press the E button, you're actually allowed to zoom in. If you zoom in on a figure, it brings up this little background picture here, which, if you open your book, is a sketch present within the book called Justice at Sea. It was created by the artist present on the boat and is a depiction of an execution scene featuring all the individual people on the boat. Hello. So you're allowed to go to this page and you can take a look at people and it will come up with their picture, which will be blurred if you're unable to find out who they are, and clear if you can. It will also come up with any text you've written about them. So this guy here, he's standing next to the captain. He appears to be the person who was shot by him, which can give you a slight clue as to who they are. So I think the most evident one is, I'm willing to put a bet on it. I don't know if it's entirely correct. This man. His picture is clear. He's got some fancy hats, nice fancy collar, and a medal. I would be willing to guess that might be the captain. He seems like, yeah, this person's face is no longer blurred. I can figure out who that is. My guess, I'd say captain. I could be wrong, but I am allowed to come back to that later and fix it if I feel I've made a mistake. 60 people on the shift when it leaves England. Why does the captain hate his crew? I mean, I feel like if you put 60 Scottish and English people onto a boat, they'd start... How long do you think it would take you to start just cutting people? Well, I feel like if you loved me on a boat with a bunch of random people... the big... I'm going to mark you down as captain. The only real indication as to why people might start stabbing each other so far is... If I can find it. I don't remember where it is. I'll be back in the book. Where are they? Must be in here someplace. At the bottom of the sea. I feel like this guy's got treasure, or at least he had treasure and he's hidden it. I think this is mutineering. Possibly evident by the fact that a bunch of people are currently trying to stab the captain with a 10-foot pole. Which, you know, I don't think is normal. Have you ever been on like a cruise ship out on a holiday? It's like, take a cruise ship, go around to all the coasts of Spain, stab your captain with a 10-foot pole. It sounds nice. Relaxing holiday of sorts. Gonna go take a look at this guy. I think I can take a decent guess as to who that person is, based on the fact that there are only 2 people left in the previous scene. The sounds of a nice relaxing holiday. You know, I've been on cruise ships before. I think they're you know, it was a fairly similar experience to this, actually. I too stabbed the guy in charge of the ship with a knife and then got... I'm gonna go with clubbed in the face. These things happen, you know. It seems rather... yeah, I don't think they're doing so hot. He's fine. That'll, like... Get a pallet. Take the old, like, secondary school nurse technique and put an ice pack on there, you'll be fine. I think I'm going to take what I call a reasonable assumption. That he's dead. Dead person. Who are you? Oh, you're a member of the crew, or the passengers perhaps. My only potential issue with the game, very small one, it does force you, also all that time that's happened until this book has opened to its pages, that is a pre-timed thing. I'm not allowed to skip and write something in the book immediately. I'm gonna go with clubbed. Sure, we'll go with captain. Sort of full sending captain at this point, I think. And I'm gonna leave. And so we've explored all the fates of the people in the area. Now that does mean I'm hoping the game will unlock somewhere new at least, otherwise I'm... Somewhere new. So we've got 2 bodies here. I will admit I know something about the game, so I'm going to start with this one. Why is this pelvis like... So all his bones are in a nice little pile. Except his pelvis.
Abigail, your brother, my friend. I shot him dead.
Ooh. Names. This is a luxury you do not get a lot. Names.
Soon, my love.
I can actually put some names on people just because they've...
Please forgive me.
So I think this is one of the only instances of names in the entire game, which makes this much easier to deal with. Oh, that looks... that's manageable. It's a light scratch at best. I don't think he's doing okay. So he has called out for a name Abigail. Now, I don't want to be too insensitive, but I'm going to assume the 60-year-old white dude and those 2 are not called Abigail. I'm going to put my money on it. You, I'm going to say, are Abigail, for now at least. Abigail Huskett Witterall. Okay. That makes some sense. We've got William, Robert Witterall, Captain, and then Abigail Huskett Witterall, passenger. That makes some sense. So he's... Once again, 10 points for anyone who can figure out how he's died. The bit that caught my attention was that he's claimed to have shot Abigail's brother. And I don't know how many people the captain's shot, admittedly. There might be a long list of people the captain has shot. He seems a little trigger happy, to be completely honest. So suicide by gun. Ah, yes. My favourite feature. This may or may not be correct. Thank you for specifying. You do not get confirmation on whether you're correct about something until you get 3 correct. So this might be right. This might be wrong. He might not have shot himself. He might not even be Captain Witterall. You have no idea until you finish 3 reports. Which means I need to get, if what I've written down there is correct, I need to get 2 more right before I am allowed to be confirmed whether I've gotten them. See, now I'll admit I missed this on my first playthrough. He's claimed to have shot Abigail's brother. This guy got shot in the chest by who I'm calling the captain. And the captain admittedly may have shot a lot of other people, but I'm going to assume that's the person he was referring to. So I'm going to find the crew list. Hopefully. Back to the start. I'm going to find Abigail's name somewhere on here. So Abigail Huskett Witterall. I know that the person who shot himself there is Robert Witterall, so I'm going to assume that Huskett is a family name, perhaps. And maybe see if I can find anyone else with the name Huskett in here. And then I'm going to assume, if there is a Huskett, that is their brother. William Huskett, first mate, Scottish. Right, he sounded Scottish to me when he was bashing on the door asking the captain to leave, much pointed out by growls, average day in the life of a Scottish citizen, so I am going to put money on it. You are a lovely Scottish person. Now again, I have no idea if this is right until I fill out 3 correct ones, so that could be completely wrong, and we will find out. If I get 3 correct eventually, and this is not included in them, it means I've made a mistake. And this is a mark to show we've completed this chapter of the book with 4 deaths. So in this chapter of the book entitled The End, the last chapter of the book, we have 4 people dead and 4 pages to fill. I'm making my best guesses. This is William Huskett, shot by Captain Robert. I don't know who this is, but he was stabbed. I don't know who that is, but they were clubbed. And I'm assuming he shot himself in the chest. It makes decent enough sense to me. I could be wrong though. And we're back on the boat. Now there is one last body in here before that sort of this section of the game will be over, and I will say, so anyone who is remotely interested in the game, at least so far, I very much advise you, as strange as it sounds for someone playing a game and not stream to say, you maybe watch this next one, and then if you really enjoy it, you leave, go try out the free demo for the game, and then you just go buy it yourself. Because there's a lot to this game, more than is expected. And this is the reason why the game is slightly more interesting than first appearances would seem. And the animation, especially the 3D modelling style, makes this so much more impressive looking. And it runs decently well on lower operating systems. Yeah, Game Boy games are becoming more powerful by the day. It's very impressive. My best guess is this is Abigail, and Abigail's not doing so hot currently. I think most of her sort of everything around this bit isn't doing so well. And from what the looks of it would suggest, I don't think anyone else is having a great time of it either. You know, I mean, it is an average day in the work life of a Scottish citizen, but it's, you know, these are the things you have to put up with when you live, you know, in the Scottish Isles. It's normal. And we unlock a new chapter. Chapter 7, Doom. So, a lot of stuff happened between Chapter 1 and Chapter 7 for a giant kraken to be attacking the boat, and then a lot happened between Chapter 7 and Chapter 10 for 56 members of the crew to have gone missing. So yes, I marked this person down as Abigail, and this is a nice feature, sort of a improvement of quality of life change. You are allowed to put slight variations of answers for ambiguous deaths, and it will accept multiple answers. So I usually put down, I think on my first playthrough, Abigail Huskett-Witterell was clubbed by a beast. Ooh. And I've marked 3 correct. It will now confirm these 3 and put them in permanent writing. But you are allowed to put other names for deaths that are sort of vague. So for that one, I know from research that you are allowed to suggest that Abigail was, I think, crushed by debris is an acceptable answer, which I would personally argue that crushed by debris is a bit of an understatement when you get whacked around the side of the head by a kraken, but it is an accepted answer. Now, the level of puzzle solving in this game I quite enjoy because it allows for multiple ways of solving things. You can solve things slowly and by brute force, or if you are very attention heavy, you are actually able to catch details really early into the game that will allow you to solve mysteries a lot faster than you typically would. So the game states that a picture in the book will only become unblurred, where if my hand could stop shaking in game, that would be real nice. A picture in the book will only become unblurred when it's possible to figure out who they are, and this is one of my favourite examples of that. So there's this random woman, we don't have any idea who this is, but if you go to her page, we can apparently figure out who this is. Same goes for, if I can get them in focus. Come on. Come on. Yes, you! So both of these people, despite having met them a moment ago, apparently we are capable of figuring out who they are. Unlike, I won't bother checking all of them because I know pretty much everyone else in that scene. You're not able to figure out who that is quite yet. But these two random women on this boat, you can figure out who that is. And so, I won't be doing this very often. I won't figure out, I'm not going to explain exactly how I know who that is. Mostly because this is sort of having reflected in the game after having solved it. I can tell you those 2 people and how I know who those 2 people are. But I will hold off on that for now. The one I will point out is in the dialogue for the person we've just watched the very unfortunate death of. Abigail. Her line calls out for a man called Martin. Now, I'm not quite remembering if this is correct, but I'm going to assume that the person who appears to be being followed is going to be the person they're referring to. and pictures unblurred, I can figure out who that is. I'm gonna guess you're Martin. Their position in the picture, also an important factor when solving the puzzle. Admittedly, I can tell a lot of these factors are important, having played a lot of the game and gotten used to it on the first playthrough. You don't start using all these clues until you've sort of gotten comfortable with the game, just because you don't know everything. But so positioning in the picture, a valid way to tell who someone is, actually. So my guess is this is Martin. Martin is the third mate on the ship. I don't know exact terms for how ships work, but I'm pretty sure that being third mate means you're quite important. And being important on a ship means you get a fancy outfit. And that is a mighty fine fancy outfit he's got there. First mate. He's been confirmed, so this is what a first mate looks like. Fancy outfit. Stands next to the captain. I don't think it's entirely unreasonable to go and point fingers and say, hey, that might be a third mate. He's got a fancy outfit and is stood next to a captain. How do I know who you are? So we've got a bunch of other people. You can sort of like guess roles, even just based on this picture, even if you can't figure out exactly who this is. So this person here and this person here are on the mast. That probably means they're mast operators. So I think the term is called topmen. This means they most likely work on the top of the ship. People with guns, common outfits, they're probably lower level passengers or lower level crew members. Fancy outfit generally means fancy job. Intermediate outfit, intermediate job. And then common outfit, common job. And this guy's dead. So this is an interesting one. I won't spoil it, but to those of you at home, I want you to take a guess on how you can figure out who this person is. We haven't actually seen this person in any of the scenes so far, so we can apparently tell who this is purely without having interacted with them yet. And, you know, that's not something I will reveal, but I would like you to take a guess at home on how you think you'd be able to do that. But sometimes, this is a feature, why my hand's been jittering for the last 5 minutes. Sometimes there are layers. In a scene where someone has died, if there is another body present, you are allowed to take another step back down the chain and investigate that person. Sort of a domino effect. Because Abigail died, I'm allowed to visit her scene, and because someone was dead in Abigail's scene, I'm now allowed to trace that back and investigate their death. Because I think, reasonably, I'd put my money on him being dead. I don't think he's alive, to be completely honest. Yeah, that'd explain the screaming, honestly. Oh. Ugh. Do you think he's died or not? I don't know, it looks like a minor scratch, to be honest, but I don't think he's doing too hot. Okay, so you're very dead. You're here. And the game basically becomes a series of opening these little scenes, going into them and seeing what little clues you can find that might suggest who each person is and what they're responsible for. Yeah, he's... yeah, I suppose. I don't think he's doing okay, though. So I'm going to say... it's the early game, it gets a little difficult. I cannot tell you who a lot of these people are, nor can I tell you what their jobs are just based on their appearance. Like, I might be able to give you an estimate, but it will be difficult to tell you who they are. See, this is another instance. It is technically possible at this point to solve this person's fate. But how? I will admit I'm not actually entirely sure. I think it will have something to do with... Eh, Torn Apart would summarise it quite nicely. I'm imagining tattoos appear to be, at least from the picture in the book, tattoos aren't an entirely common practice on the ship. I'm not seeing many people with tattoos on the ship aside from him. So that would indicate to me, at least, that the tattoos are not a choice of local areas like England or Scottish areas or China area, which puts him, at least to me, from somewhere outside that region. So maybe Russian, Scottish, New Guinea, Sierra Leone. Now, I don't know who this is, admittedly, but I'm putting my best guess that that is one of the people that isn't from a common nationality. We've got another death. Ah! Yeah, I could have imagined. You don't seem to be doing so well. And we're allowed to take the trail back one more step. Following the very normal puff of smoke, which, you know, definitely not vaguely supernatural at all. And I can go one step back. I don't know, this just doesn't look pleasant. I mean, dying, obviously, but that seems like a rather uncomfortable way to go. Now, when it comes to the solving the deaths in the game, usually the three features: who they are, how they died, and what was responsible. Usually, it goes in the order of figuring out how they died is the easy bit, who killed them is second hardest, and then who they are is always the worst. So yeah, my money, I think he exploded. In chat, feel free to correct me if you don't think he exploded. I may be wrong, but I put my money on. And the only issue here, I can't actually see them through the cloud of smoke. So they've got no discernible figures. That's where the book comes in. I'm able to open to their page. This is them. This is a decently nice outfit, so I can't tell exactly who this is. The game agrees with me on that. This person's face appears blurred throughout the book. I don't have sufficient information to tell you who that is yet. And the game does warn you thusly, it's unproductive to try and pick out a specific name. But what the game does allow me to do is have a look anyway. And obviously I don't know exactly who this is, but what I can do, to the game's joy, if anyone has noticed these when I've been scrolling throughout, sometimes unknown appears. I originally thought when I played the game this meant that there were some passengers who weren't known by name. This doesn't. In fact, it means you're allowed to just mark them down by their job, because you may be able to figure that one out if you have not figured out their name yet. So, fancy outfit. I don't think he's a steward, I don't think he's a topman, and I don't think he's a seaman. Haha. I think he's an officer of some sort. Officer contains all these specialised roles: second mate, fourth mate, bosun, surgeon, everything in that range. I don't think they're a passenger. They could perhaps be a steward, something of note. So I might mark them down officer or steward for now. I'm going to look at the picture. I can see some other people with similar-ish outfits here, so they're either stewards or a mate of some sort, I'm going to say. So I will not mark them down for now, but I will keep that in mind. Got a lot of other people in the scene as well. It's always important to, when you're looking through the scenes, pay attention to the other people in there as well, just in case. Because you might find clues of context that allows you to figure out who someone else is, even in a scene that isn't relating to their death. So I'm able to tell, I'd say this person exploded, but I can't figure out who they are, and I will instead just take a look around, see if I can find any other clues to whoever might be here. You're carrying a stock of weaponry. I think the most valuable piece of information if anyone does decide to try the game, always check profile picture. It does reveal a lot about their outfit, which in turn can tell you a lot about who that person is. Poor guy does not know what's about to happen to him in like 15 seconds, God love him. He'll be alright, maybe. So you're one of these. So you two work the same job, I think. You're stood next to each other in the picture and have similar-ish outfits. Oh, poor goat. What makes me curious is you've got guns. And if I open up the picture... Guns. I wonder if you're in charge of guns. It might have something to do with... I thought there'll be a lot in this game of seeing someone with a characteristic feature, getting a post-it note, and writing down a line or something. So, funny hat guy with beard has a lot of guns. That might mark him down as something to do with an armsman or a gun supplier, because they keep guns locked on ships to prevent people from accessing them in a way to prevent mutinies. So only select people are allowed typically to have access to guns. So what we've done there is, you notice we left through a door that time instead of picking up a new trail. That is the end of that set of scenes. So those all line into each other. But that is the end of that. There's no more left in that line. Usually what happens when there's no one left in the line is, if you're out of bodies, the game will open a new area, like it has here. It's begins to open the bows of the ship. Not quite all the areas. I'm not allowed to go all the way down, but I'm allowed to begin investigating the underside of the ship. Which means I get access to a new set of people. A very important detail, I think, always look around the whole area. So you'll notice for now, these doors have been locked. I'm not allowed to go through this. Which probably means that there is either nothing worth checking out in there, or more likely that is a locked off area to the game, and that I will eventually need to go to once it gets unlocked to me. So a new area with a bunch of new people. So we've got dead body under there. Ooh, fun time. Bunch of doors. I've always liked this room. It's very strange thing to have a particular room in a game you enjoy, but it's just a bedroom with my artillery cannon, next to my bed. I've got my bed, my towels, my pictures of family back home, my piece of rope, my stool, my cannon. You might have like a plush toy. I have a cannon. This guy, he doesn't have a cannon. That makes him a loser. Only cool people. I think there might be a dead body in there. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. Dead body! Very cool. We'll be back for you. Mark that one down. There we are. That's the way up to the top of the ship. So that's another set of stairs. Eventually this will unlock, I think, and I'll be allowed further down into the ship. Empty. So this door is locked as well. This tells me that there's something behind here. Again, most likely a dead guy, which I will eventually need to go and find. But opening it now might reveal a little too much information, or it might not make any sense if I see what's happening. So it won't let me in there quite yet. I'm not really sure what mystical forces have decided that I'm not allowed to open this door, but they seem to be pretty damn good at not letting me in. So we've got, I think in summary, we've got one body in there, one body down here, 2 locked doors which probably have extra people we'll eventually need to go and see. And I think... Oh. Ooh! Ah, the game is not responding. Ooh, no. I mean, I was thinking of calling the stream off shortly because I think we have dropped people and I've already been going quite a while anyway. Yeah, I'm going on nearly an hour and I think most people have gone by now. So it's going to only last a bit longer, but I think the game's crashing. So... yeah. Ooh. We've got a lot of skipped frames being detected. I'm skipping 70% of my frames. Yeah. Yeah, I think the game's crashed. Yeah. If there is anyone still watching, I hope you enjoyed. I genuinely recommend, if there is anyone left, if you have liked what you see so far, save up. I don't remember how much it is. It goes on sale every now and again, maybe 10, 15, 20 pounds if it is, I think, around that price range. If you have liked it, buy the game. You can try the demo out. There is a free demo on itch.io. Hello, Mr. Rock. I think you might be the only one left. There's a free demo on itch.io which has, I think, the first 5 people, so that's up to Abigail included. You can try that out and get a feel whether you actually like the game. But that has... yeah, I've been stalling for time, admittedly, to see if it'll like pick back up, but no, the entire window's greyed out and it's now reading that it's completely unresponsive and I'm skipping 90% of my frames as well, so... yeah, I think that's I think that might be enough of that for tonight. I mean, if I get too much further into the game, it will also begin to start spoiling things anyway, because there is actually, to anyone who thought the Kraken reveal was quite out of left field, there is more, there is so much more, and it gets so much more ridiculous. So I would be, I'm entering dangerous territory anyway for spoilers to anyone who did want to try the game out, so I will call it quits anyway for the night, maybe. Unless unless anyone particularly wants me to try and quickly put you on a I'll be back screen and fix the game. Or like try and... it's like my options basically. I try and fix this or open a new game, or just call the stream it for tonight, and we're already entering spoiler territory, so unless anyone has any strong desire for me to keep going, I might call it there for the night. Yeah, that's sort of the point of... that's why I decided to stream it, and hey, I wanted to play it anyway, and hey, this would make for a good thing to stream, because, I think only like... I will admit, cough, 3 people showed up because I announced this very last minute, because oopsie daisies, it was a very off-the-cuff decision, but if 3 people have seen this game, that's 3 more people who I think might actually enjoy this, which, sort of the point. Pick a random thing and stream everything. I admire the way you do that as well, so I'll just keep doing it that way. I mean, if people had like, if I might arrange to see if, if I gave people slightly more forewarning whether people would be actually interested in a, like, air quote, series. I know I'm not a great personality, but I will, you know, put the old question out there on my status or something and see if people want to see more of it. If they don't, I will do something else. If they do, I might continue this. But yeah, let's see how many skipped frames I'm up to. Oh, it has gone down actually. So it may be 0 frames per second currently, but we are down to, I'm only skipping 25% of those 0 frames. Yeah, that doesn't help. Alright, well, yeah, I'm going to call that there. We are at 1 hour, 1 minute and 1 second of stream time. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Rock. I look forward to your next stream. You're my favourite internet personality right behind Germa. Goodbye. I'm still waving. I don't know why I'm doing that. This was fun. I mostly just wanted to get another fix of this game.